Winged Nation presents, presented by Drydene DRF Racing Oils.
Bobby Ellen, Scruffy, one of the great characters in sprint car racing. Bobby is the 1990 winner of the Knoxville Nationals and a 1998 inductee into the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. And with all the accolades on the track, well, off the track, it's that character that makes Bobby Ellen the one-of-a-kind personality that he is. At the NASCAR Hall of Fame, during World Finals weekend, we had a program down there called Drydene Wing Nation Legends, where NASCAR Hall of Famer Ray Evernham and Tony Stewart sat down with Bobby Ellen. With thousands of laps logged, Drydene's DRF racing oils were built and proven on the track, and now they're ready for your race engine. DRF is engineered exclusively for high horsepower racing engines that require maximum performance against the toughest competition. And DRF racing and break-in oils are built with competition-grade ZDDP to protect critical engine components while boasting improved torque and horsepower and superior temperature reduction. To get DRF in your engine, go to drfracing.com or call 1-877-DRYDENE. And now let's get to that visit with Bobby Ellen. Aaron, I'm ready. Were you ready here for some legends, are you?
I'm ready.
Absolutely. Let's bring our first legend up. He is the 1990 winner of the Knoxville Nationals. He is a member of the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame. He is the owner of Shark Racing. They field the Drydene cars. How about it for Bobby Ellen? We're going to get Bobby mic'd up there and get set. This right here is one that's had us worried all along, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I can't wait to hear Bobby's stories. You know, I've heard about him growing up. He was a hero in Pennsylvania, all over the country in sprint car racing, so I'm excited to hear some good tales.
Well, that sounds good. Ray, you've got your first. Okay, here we go.
You need to remember, this is a AM show now. We can't talk like we do at the racetrack. Some of the stuff, you got to leave some of these details out.
Is there a guy with a button?
Yeah.
We got plenty of guys with plenty of buttons. Go for it. Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about that.
I sat there and listened to him early. One of the first times that Bobby and I sat down and talked to each other, I sat there, and it was about an hour, and I sat there like this, and I thought, man, I need to go to church tomorrow. Man, that was one of the coolest hours of my life, though, so I'm excited you're here.
Well, I am thinking a little bit about this because I was thinking about this deal I seen you on here where you were gonna wish you could take them two drivers on. I'd like to see that.
It's not even fair.
I'd like to see that.
It's not even fair to those two guys because, I guess it would be fair.
Are you in better shape than both of them or something, or what's the deal?
No, but are you kidding me? Have you looked at those two? Round's a shape, bud. I'm in perfect shape. Round is a shape. Those two can't whip their way out of a wet paper bag. Those guys, if they had to hang out at a dirt track and actually have to worry about truly getting their ass whipped on a weekend, would not survive at a dirt race anymore.
Yeah, well, I wanted to see you back it up. That's good.
I'm ready when they are. I said it then, I'll say it now. So I'm ready whenever those two are, but I don't think they're ready.
Tony's been talking to NASCAR about some rule changes, so you might see a little bit more action on pit road. But
I'm encouraging it for the record.
Are you? All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he likes that excitement.
Yeah.
Well, I got to tell you a story about Bobby. My story about Bobby Allen. We growing up in New Jersey, Pennsylvania area. He's a man like area auto racing news. You pick it up there every week, and I had really never met him. So we're at Nashville for the World Outlaws race, and I thought, well, I don't normally do this, but I'm gonna suck it up. I'm gonna go over there and introduce myself. So he was sitting, with the boys, with the cars there, and I walked over and I said, "Hi, I'm Ray Evernham." And he just looked at me. He said, "I know who you are." He didn't say anything else. And I was so intimidated. I was like, "Well, it's nice to meet you." And I went back and I said to Aaron, I said, "Man, that was really awkward. I didn't know what else to say." But it was honestly intimidating for me to go over and meet this guy who I had seen growing up just whoop everybody so bad out across Pennsylvania. So I just figured I'd share that. That was kind of an awkward moment for
I can tell you why.
For me.
Because several times I'd see you somewhere, and you probably didn't know it was me racing or whatever, and I walk up to go to talk to you, and you kind of like just walk away. And so I thought, So when you came up, I said, yeah, I know you, Ray. Yeah, I knew you before.
How awkward?
So that was kind of a payback.
How awkward is it feeling now, bud?
Yeah, it's awkward now. It's awkward. Yeah. Well, at the racetrack, you know what it's like.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
But one of the things that I've always heard about you is that you are great driver, but great technical guy. And as I watch, when I watch cars on the track as a crew chief, I know what I'm looking for. What do you see? What are you looking for to get those cars dialed in when you see them go around?
Just to see which way they lean, how straight they go, and how they come off the corner, if they're loose looking or tight looking. Just normal stuff everybody looks at. Just see how, and look at the times. If they're fast, well, I guess that looks good. I don't know.
And what about working with the boys? Do you have to communicate with them different? Because when I worked with the IROC guys, one of the things that each driver would be kind of saying the same thing, but they'd be saying it a different way, and I had to translate it. Ever since we started, I do this different. Usually drivers have a crew chief to work on it and whatever. And I've taught the boys how to work on it, how to set up their cars, and they'd ask me questions. I said, well, let's just try it. You remember that field so you know which way to go. So I've done that and I've done a pretty good job. Now they basically do everything themselves, and anything I say don't mean nothing. It's actually a little bit of I saw a gun there. And I was actually talking to Blaney about that. Does your kid do that? He said, no, my kid's good. He listens. So I thought, I can't wait to get back to tell him that, because they don't care what I say. Logan, when he ran go-karts, he'd run high and he was fast. He'd win all the races. And I'd say, Logan, you need to come down the middle. The middle of the racetrack's faster. He said, but it feels faster up top. It took me 3 weeks to get him to come down the middle and win them races on the middle. They just seem like they're like a fight. And Jacob, he'd complain. He said he don't care if he wins the race. He says, I'm always going to say something he did wrong. I said, no, you can run fifth if you did everything right. I'd tell you did everything right. But that's right. So they really reject me saying anything to them right now. So I just got to kind of watch them and suggest something and hoping them that 2 weeks later they do that.
He's planting the seed.
I've
always wondered, and I've never even asked you this, where did the shark come into it? Where did having the shark on the front of the hood come from? I've got a huge helmet collection. I've got one of your helmets, and it's got the shark teeth around the eye port. Just always wondered where shark came into Bobby Allen's.
Okay, how that came about, let's see. Well, first I'll tell one story. Here I was in the beginning with the Outlaws, and actually my dad was in the beginning with NASCAR. He drove for Bill France and run up and down the beach, and when they first were trying to get the money for Daytona, he'd flew down to, I think, Cuban Airways to try to find money to build a thing. So I grew up around all the NASCAR beginning guys that my dad knew, Marshall Teague, they wouldn't even know who he was, and all that. Well, anyway, my dad never flew in World War II, but he trained pilots, and that's what he did. I have a big picture on my wall with him in the plane with the shark teeth. And he died at 59 of cancer. And the one boy, Jack Eckert, who worked for me, said, Bobby, you need to put that shark on the side of your car for your dad. So I'm trying to get through without crying. But anyway, that's how that came about. And then it was great, because then all the kids loved it. So you sucked the kids in and the parents, so it was great. So I'm glad we did it. And now that's what it turned into, the shark team.
You talked about that NASCAR connection, but not a lot of people know it. You've had a pretty good connection with the Allison brothers when you were in Florida,
I grew up with them. Yeah, I fixed them up with a couple girls, Donnie.
The ones they're married to, can we talk about that or not?
I don't know. Yeah, no. I ran around with Don. I'm from Miami originally, and they were from Alabama. They'd come down there. In fact, that's where I wanted to go, to Alabama first to follow them. And I remember, well, I'm jumping stories like I always do. I remember wanting to go to NASCAR once I was winning sprint races, and I said, what's it cost to run? He says, Bobby, it costs $10,000 a race. Wouldn't that be nice now?
Yeah, it would be nice now.
But anyway, let's see, I do it all the time. The question was, with the Allisons. Yeah, I grew up there. In fact, Eddie Allison, which was their older brother, he started helping me on my race car. One night, and I crashed it, and I didn't know how to fix it, and he lived 2 doors down from me, so he started fixing it, and me and Donnie ran around together all the time, and Bobby was the same name. I ran around with him, grew up around him all the time.
Now, did you always run dirt, or did you run the modifieds pavement?
No, I ran, actually, that's why in the beginning when I ran, I was really good on slick tracks, because I came from pavement. I was a world's go-kart champion, which was payment, and I ran the tracks in Florida, Hollywood, Palmetto Speedway, West Palm Beach, and you drove off the right front. And so when I started running the races, that's how I drove. I'd always drive off the right front and let the back end follow and stick with it. So that's where I grew up, on asphalt, and then went to dirt. Because at that time, to go to Indianapolis, it was all dirt drivers. I wanted to go to Indianapolis. It was like a dream, and then I went there, and you had to be 21, and then they only ran one time. Oh, that was the deal. You had to be 21, and I started when I was 18 or something. And you had to run USAC. You couldn't run nothing else. If you ran USAC, you couldn't run all the other races that I was actually making a living off of. So I ran a little bit, and they rained out all the time, and I said, well, I got to go back to my races. And I didn't like nobody telling me what to do either. So that's why I like the Outlaws.
Yeah, I never liked the way NASCAR told me what to do either. So.
I know. That's why you came back to sprint
Now
car.
look, they're going to put me in here where I got to listen to what they do still. So, and you mentioned the go-kart side. Yeah, you keep telling me what to do too. Which the good thing is when you tell me to do something, normally I need to do what you tell me. But I saw a video, and you'll have to tell me how far back. It was black and white, so I'm not trying.
It was black and white.
This was way, way back, and it was a race in Florida, but it was.
That was at Bahamas.
It was raining in the video. You push started on it, and it was like a 6-hour endurance go-kart race that I think you won.
The only time I remember running the rain was in London. When I ran in London, they ran in the rain. But I don't remember that. I remember I thought the video you were talking about just came on. It shows a fist fight in the Bahamas. And my dad.
A lot of fist fighting and a lot of shows, folks.
Well, that was my dad. That was my dad. He was fighting because they had a race in Miami, and I took out the guy because he was blocking too much. And then they had baseball bats in the car to take out my spark plugs on my cars. And they got a big fight.
So did you just say you ran London in the rain in a go-kart?
Yeah. Yeah. For a couple years, they had a group of us when it was Grand Prix of America or something. They'd take all of us over to Europe. We'd race all over Europe.
And you actually ran in the rain?
Yeah, they ran the races in the rain, just like they do the Formula cars over there.
Was it like running a dirt or a go-kart in the rain? Is it?
I mean, it was good. I liked it. It was fun.
Did you move up your tires?
Especially, I can't remember that then if they did that or not. I drove for factories over there. They were good.
Can I ask another technical question?
Better than anybody I know.
Something I was thinking about last night, all right? And you're a great guy to ask. And as we were traveling around, I was always fascinated by the different dirt, Pennsylvania to Iowa to whatever, and I was trying to learn it. And I thought to myself last night, and Aaron and I talked about this, you get it when the track's hot and it's dusty and it's sunny, but when it gets that cold, what does that do to that dirt? Is it taking rubber? Is it getting slick?
Well, every dirt across the country is different, so you do have to learn the dirt, and the weather does make a lot of difference. Sometimes it depends on where and how much is run on it, whether it gets dry or it gets sealed over. I mean, it definitely, the weather and the racetrack and the dirt all has a different factor.
But they used to use calcium and stuff in the dirt tracks years ago. Now they don't use that anymore. Has that changed a bunch the way you pick your tires?
Some racetracks, well, today you're basically got to run the same tires all the time we do. But back when it was open, it made a big difference on tires. Certain tires like certain dirt way better. And actually, it seemed like if they ran there and the tires would wear on that track, that tire seemed to work better there too, because it liked the tire against the tire.
Never thought of that.
See, that's why I might still want to go back sprint car racing. I'll get you and Ern as a team, so you can get in between us.
I'm gonna get a different motor then.
You're gonna get a different motor.
I'm gonna get one that you built. The 410 cubic inch 305.
It's just the way you do the multiplication.
Yeah. The new math.
As long as 6 cylinders add up to 305 cubic inches, you just stop counting.
I don't think that's how that works, bud.
Bobby, on your sprint car bucket list, is there anything that's missing, or are you pretty happy?
Well, I mean, no, I'm actually pretty happy. Naturally, you always want more, or you wish you would have did things different just to have more, because Sammy and I probably fell out of more races leading than we won. And that's what I try to do with the boys, try to cure that problem of not having them fall out. Yeah, my bucket list would be now to to win the championship right now with the boys. Yeah, it would be that.
The thing that I think is impressive is you look at how far the boys program has come in a short amount of time. I mean, I remember when you were coming over and grabbing the tires that we were dismounting at the night that we didn't think we wanted to run anymore, and that's the tires you guys would start the evening on. And you look how far you've brought that program in such a short amount of time.
Well, I still do that because I believe the tires are better sometimes. But I'll tell you that what changed on that, they started cutting their tires so I couldn't get them. Yeah, that changed a lot. I said, well, they got other people that.
But you've built this program from, I mean, where it was 5 years ago and where it is today is, it's probably the fastest growing World Outlaw team out there as far as in the last 5 years of
I
where
tell
you started
everybody,
and where you're at with them.
you got to have a 2-year vision, and you got to have a vision, number one. But 2 years, I always work 2 years ahead, and definitely that's how we got there, by a lot of help from a lot of people. Don Ott, and if they wasn't running 15th or so, they had to pull out. We started the first year with 2.5 motors, and there was a lot of bets going on we wouldn't make it. Of course, I don't see how we made it now. But used tires was a big help because we all know what the tire bills are. They're, the tire bills are for one car, $60,000, and used tires, well, you're talking $12,000, $15,000. So that made a big difference, and that's what's good when you pick them. And then sometime they'll talk about the tracks, and I do believe that if the tracks are dryness a little bit, I think the used tire, that as long as it has almost the same rubber as the other tire on it, it's a better tire. I think that's better than, is it a flip of a coin sometime? I think with damp, wet, yeah, the new tires are better, no doubt about it. As long as you've got good rubber on it. You don't want the rubber wearing down, because as soon as the rubber wears down, you get loose.
Bobby, it's been a pleasure and an honor to be able to talk with you. I'm sorry if I didn't pay attention to you in the cup stuff. I think you get it even by blowing me off at Nashville. So next time we can sit and have a beer after. Thank you, buddy.
No, I look up to you. I always did. Yeah, I was the other way. I said, well, that son of a gun, come and talk to him. He acts up like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Allen, the legend, joining us here. How about that, Aaron? That is really,
awesome.
really neat. I could listen to Bobby Allen tell stories all day long. Throw in Ray Evernham and Tony Stewart, and who doesn't like that? Great, great stuff from the NASCAR Hall of Fame. We appreciate you checking out this week's edition of Wing Nation Presents, presented by Drydene DRF Racing Oils. With thousands of laps logged, Drydene's DRF racing oils were built and proven on the track. And now they're ready for your race engine. DRF is engineered exclusively for high horsepower racing engines that require maximum performance against the toughest competition. And DRF racing and break-in oils are built with competition-grade ZDDP to protect critical engine components while boasting improved torque and horsepower and superior temperature reduction. To get DRF in your engine, go to drfracing.com or call 1-877-DRYDENE.
Winged Nation Presents, presented by Drydene DRF Racing Oils.